Who do I like better?
Welcome to NFL Live, an action-packed show in store for you today. Louis Riddick, Marcus Spears, Booger McFarland joins us later, and as you may be noticing, a special guest is with us today. Daniel Jeremiah hopping on to be with us as part of the ESPN NFL Network Draft Crossover Week. We've got a lot to get to. DJ, so glad to have you on the show. It's a real treat to have you here.
Yeah, it's an annual tradition. Always look forward to it.
Us too. Okay, one of the biggest questions going into next week's draft is who will the Giants take at pick number 3? They're taking a deep look at multiple quarterbacks this week in private workouts. Here's GM Joe Shane earlier today.
With the signing of those two players, I think we put ourselves in a position where, I don't think that's mandatory or something that we're, our feet to the fire and we have to do. They've got a lot of skins on the wall, and I do think we've upgraded that room, compared to where it was a year ago. I like the two guys that we have, and we'll be open to all options. I mean, those type of strategy sessions have been ongoing and, talking through different scenarios. So, yeah, we're always going to be open to, either or of those scenarios. We've received some calls. Yeah, we've received some calls.
Interesting if they would trade. I doubt it. But again, a reminder that they're working out this week. Tyler Shough, Jalen Milroe, and of course, Shedeur Sanders. But Swagger, with all the signs of indecision in New York, what do you think they should do at pick number 3?
Yeah, go with the best player. If you're not sold on these quarterbacks, and that's, Travis Hunter would be wonderful there, but Abdul Carter would be wonderful as well across from Brian Burns. This is simple to me for the New York Giants. If you don't like a quarterback, take one of those two players. If you don't want one of those two players, trade out of the position and get more picks so you can build more of this team. But to me, it would be a no-brainer. Whichever is left out of Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, you enhance the pass rush, or you get who I think is a generational player in Travis Hunter that can help you on both sides of the ball, even though I don't think it would be for the full game. I know Travis Hunter has made a lot of noise about going both ways. I think you can manage that with him, with the talent that he has. This dude is a top 5 overall talent at wide receiver and defensive back in any draft. So I think a team has a lot to think about if they take him. But Abdul Carter bolstering that pass rush, especially with what's happening in the NFC East with those quarterbacks, that may be the route to go.
Yes, Mike, I think it will be one of those two players, depending upon who falls to them at 3, depending upon obviously what Cleveland does at 2. And I think the other thing that they're trying to do right now is they're just trying to get this quarterback stacking right. They want to make sure that they're prepared for all scenarios and really have a game plan depending upon how the draft really shakes out. Later on throughout the top 10 picks, namely what does New Orleans do at 9, what does Pittsburgh do at 21, and then what do they need to do in order to get in position to get one of the guys that they liked, depending upon who was left at that point. After 9 goes off the board, and then see what Pittsburgh does, because then I think at that point the Giants are going to have to assess everything as far as the quarterback position is concerned. Is Jackson Dart still available? Is Shedeur still available? Is Tyler Shough still available? Is Jalen Milroe still available? They need to get a comfort level with these guys, stack them properly, and then make their move in the bottom half of that first round if that's in fact what they're going to do.
Yeah, and Louis, I think some people hear about these workouts late in the process and think this is something that they just decided last minute, we got to cram for the test. This stuff's been on the books, and talking to the guys in the Giants personnel department, they've planned this out. It's been on the calendar. It's not a surprise pop-up workout here. But, Louis, you talked about what do you do if you take a player there at number 3. To me, I think Abdul Carter will be the pick. I think Travis Hunter goes 2. Abdul Carter goes to the Giants. And then Pittsburgh is that target, knowing at 21 that could be a quarterback spot. So what does it cost the Giants to get to 20? It's really not that bad when you look at the chart. You're looking at pick 34 in the second round, pick 65 in the third round. They also have an extra third-round pick they'd hold on to, and then a fifth-round pick. So they can have their cake and eat it, too. You get the premier player and come back up for the quarterback. And to me, Jackson Dart is one that makes sense in that environment, in that division, in that weather. I just think he's a little more rugged, a little more arm strength, a little more physical. To me, that's a match there with the Giants.
DJ, that makes me wonder, though, do you think that the Saints at 9 are a spot that you have to get to? That they seem like a team, certainly, that could be in the mix for a quarterback as well.
Well, they've done their homework. They've done their homework on all these quarterbacks, but just, and talking to people around the league, that doesn't seem to be a spot right now that they're pegging as a quarterback spot. It's year one for Kellen Moore. There's no rush right now. They got some other needs they can fill, and we'll see if they go for one of those second-tier quarterbacks later on in the draft.
I love it. All right, let's go to the top of the NFC East, where the Eagles have built their success, starting with the draft, right? They don't miss with early picks. Each of their last 9 picks they've made in the first 2 rounds, dating back to second-round pick Jalen Hurts in 2020, they all started in Super Bowl 59. I mean, that's just remarkable. Eagles GM Howie Roseman spoke Tuesday about Philly's approach into this year's draft.
Where we are right now, we have a lot of good players that have earned their paychecks. We have others coming up through that will be in position to earn paychecks. And so we want to get as many young, talented players on this roster as we can to add competition, which is one of Coach's core values, and also because of the financial situation that we're going to have going forward in our effort to try to win another championship for the city.
DJ, the Eagles picking at 32, of course. What should they be looking to do at that spot in the draft?
Well, you put your feet up on the desk and you wait for an unbelievably great player to just fall in your lap, because that's the way the draft works every year. Those are the rules, Laura. I don't make them, but that's just the way that it goes down. So they can be patient. They lost some key pieces in free agency, so they could go in a couple different spots. Now, I look at a guy, like Tyler Booker, if he were to fall down because he didn't have a great workout, is that someone who could be in range for them? Obviously, they're going to have all the information coming out of that program. They love players out of Georgia. They love players out of Alabama. So that's one option from the Crimson Tide. And then Jihad Campbell, who I think is one of the top 15 players in the draft, but he's not entering into this part of the process healthy. And maybe he slides a little bit. But never in a million years did I wake up thinking that Nolan Smith would fall into their lap, yet he did. I never would have thought they could have got Cooper DeJean in the second round, yet they did. So they can just sit back, be patient, and let the draft fall to them.
Yeah, I mean, that is the benefit of being where they are. And really, they have a comfort level sitting where they're sitting in regards to feeling as though they can identify the type of people that they want down there. And you're right, DJ. I mean, usually every year someone falls down there that you're sitting there scratching your head going, how did this happen? My bet would be, look, they continue to build on the kind of things that they have always hung their hat on, which is namely offensive and defensive line play, maximum pass rush pressure, and obviously trying to dominate the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball. You figure, you wonder, will James Pierce last that long? Will James Pierce and some of the issues that are surrounding him cause him to drop down there to the bottom of the first round? Which for me, I mean, that would be like a Nolan Smith head scratcher type of scenario. This guy to me is like a mini Javon Curse. And I'm telling you, you see him in Eagle Green, you're going to be sitting there going, how the hell did this happen again? Donovan Ezeraku from Boston College, who I got to see live multiple times and talk to multiple times. Think about Donovan Ezeraku in this Eagles defense playing on, again, those are the kind of things that are going to wind up happening for Philadelphia when they're on the clock. And you're going to sit there going, this doesn't quite seem fair that this happens all the time.
Well, first of all, listen, one thing history has taught me is to never trust that Howie Roseman is patient, okay? And they very well may be at this 32nd pick. But if there's a player they absolutely